All right. Hey, Alec, how's it going?
Hey, is going swell.
Yes.
Just dandy, you could say.
Yes, we're joined by Rusty again. We're making our way through all the live action Disney remakes, so we're like checking off the boxes here. So, Lady and the
That
Tramp,
we are.
how's
Yes.
it going?
Thank you for having me on again, gentlemen.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
gotta we gotta make our way through all these Disney live action films. We're not gonna get through every single one because that'd be way too
Well, yeah.
much.
Well,
That
It'd
would
maybe,
be
take
like
forever.
this. It'd be like a Star Wars undertaking. We're not ready for that again.
but we're not
Not
like
so
doing it
soon.
weekly, so it could
And
like
we're not doing it
we could
weekly either.
eventually.
Hmm.
Yeah,
All
we're
right.
probably
So,
not gonna get through all of them
so
before Mulan comes out.
how are we
But
feeling about Lady and the Tramp live action remake, Disney Plus exclusive?
I'll kick it off if you don't mind.
All
go
right.
for it.
Yeah, so I guess my sister and I growing up had most of what you would deem the classic VHS Disney tapes, and we watched them like endlessly.
Mm-hmm.
Lady and the Tramp was like the one film that we didn't really have. Not that I can remember at least. And all that I can really remember from the original film was like, of course, the weirdo psychedelic Siamese cat scenario, like the song that they sang.
We are
Um,
Siamese, if you don't please.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, looking back, I thought that kind of creeped me out as a kid. And then, of course, the iconic spaghetti and meatball scene. Like that's all I really recall from the
Yeah.
original movie. So going into this, I had like zero expectations. I mean, I had, um, of course, going into like I haven't seen Aladdin yet, but The Lion King and Beauty and the Beast, I had a basis of comparison, and I had high expectations going into those films because I loved the originals. So for this, I kind of went in with just kind of like no expectations, wasn't really expecting a whole lot, and I don't want to say I was like blown away because I wasn't, but I was actually pleasantly surprised with how fun this movie was.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'll kind of like
Okay.
leave it at that
Okay.
for now.
So I'm
Alec,
probably the
Alex
exact
feeling differently. Okay.
yes. So I'm probably the exact opposite of your experience because Lady and the Tramp was one of the VHS tapes we did have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I didn't like watch it a ton, probably not as much as some of the other ones, but I definitely grew up with it. I really liked the original Lady and the Tramp. I always thought it was very sweet, very cute because it's got these little dogs, and I've always really enjoyed that film. This was a bloated, um, poorly
Uh,
paced.
Yikes.
I mean, I'm not gonna say I can't say I hated it because there are some scenes that like I actually felt that they did really well. The classic spaghetti and meatball scene, as you
Hmm.
say, I think they did that perfectly. I was actually getting like a little like emotional during that
Hmm.
part because the reason that I like that scene so much is because it's just like these average Joes are just they're working so hard, they're so tirelessly at their restaurant.
yeah.
I've worked food service, I know what that's like, but
Hmm.
it's like the one thing that brings them so much joy is just having these dogs and like kind of almost it's almost them projecting on these dogs a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, and I there's that's always something about that I've always really liked. I think that scene they did a really good job with. I was like, yeah, okay, so the the original film is like 75 minutes, I think, and this is like 100 100 105, I think.
It's an hour and 44 minutes, I think, was something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So they stretched an already really well-paced short
Yeah.
plot. And
Kind
and it didn't the problem that I have with it is that it didn't really do anything new or revolutionary. It was literally hitting all of the same beats that the original
Mhm.
film did. And there's nothing like horribly wrong or offensive in the film, like in terms of like I'm insulted as a fan of the original movie.
Yeah.
It's just like it just was completely pointless.
Well,
And that's my problem with it. Is I just felt it was just entirely pointless.
Well, so I
Um,
guess quickly to go off of that, I do agree with you that when this was announced, I was just like, this is like the last movie we need a live action remake for.
yeah.
yeah, it's such like a I don't want to say it's timeless because it does take place in like the early 20th
Not,
century,
yeah. Hmm.
but like and the film was made in the 50s. But like the story is just so simple
Hmm.
and it doesn't need an update, especially because they still have it take place in the early 1900s, and then use weird. It's not like Doolittle where they were literally using 21st century slang, but it was
Hmm.
kind of weird that they were using a lot of like colloquial type talking amongst each other. It felt very. It did feel very weird, and it did take me out of the film a lot of the time.
Yeah.
when they were doing that, and it's just like because I like period pieces. I love when movies can take me back to a different time and place, and I just didn't feel transported by this movie. But I want to hear what Zach has to say about this because
Absolutely.
I'm very curious as to his thoughts.
Okay, so Lady and the Tramp, the original, was not one that I recall ever seeing in its entirety. Kind of like Rusty, I just remember the the iconic moments from it, and if anything, I'd seen it when I was like 2 years old, so
Hmm.
I had no real attachment to this. I thought this was great. I thought this was way better than Lion King. It's not even close. I think this is. I mean, it's up there with Beauty and the Beast. I thought it was great.
Are you being serious or
I'm
sarcastic
serious.
here?
I'm serious.
You are.
100%.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, hey Siri. She recognized Hey Siri from that.
Hey, wow.
I mean, I think
Okay.
there's so much. It was so fun. It was
I
so
think-
wholesome and pure.
And I think
It is
yeah.
wholesome. It's very
Mhm.
wholesome.
Yeah.
I will give it that. It's. I mean, yeah. So things that work well enough in an animated film would be like the dog catcher, who made no
Mm.
sense to me.
No, I love
in
the dog
this
catcher.
adaptation.
I love the dog catcher.
He makes literally no
awesome.
sense. He's like they spend so much time like with this other guy that works at in the train yard where he's like that dog's a menace, and it's like they never explain like what has the dog really done to be like
That's why-
all you need in there is a line saying he got you got one of our things infested with fleas, or he's always stealing like product or something, like
He
literally
bit a
anything
child
like
or
that.
something.
Yeah, or just
Yeah.
something, or like he was harassing some of the workers or something like that. It could be literally anything, but we get basically nothing, and it's just like wholesome, kind of like shady tramp guy that we get. But he's lovable because he's the mutt. He's the dog we all recognize that we see around town. So
Yeah. I want to circle back to what Zach said, if you don't mind, Alex. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
oh no, go for
Okay.
it.
So Zach said that he liked this better than The Lion King. I actually agree with you entirely. The Lion King,
See, this is
the
why I
original.
need to see The Lion King.
Wait,
Mhm.
Wait,
The
oh,
live
that's
action
right.
remake.
That's right.
I still haven't seen it. I didn't
When
see
we
it.
talked
I
about it, you
moderated
had
or
seen it.
whatever.
Oh
the
my gosh.
discussion.
Okay, yes. Well, now I think it's on Disney Plus, so you have no.
It
no
is. I should watch it. I'll probably watch it this week.
Okay. Well, to Zach's point, I do agree with you because The Lion King, all of it was CGI. Obviously, you're not going to get a lion hanging out with a warthog and capture that on camera. In this movie, they used real dogs and then just did CGI to touch up the animations of their faces talking, which was a little weird at first, but I think I give the director a lot of credit. Yeah, I mean, Alex nodding.
I was really off put by it, to be honest.
It was really strange. I think, maybe a half an hour, 45 minutes into the film, I got more used to it, even though it still was
Same,
like,
yeah.
that's a little odd. But I think I give the director a lot of credit because he used real dogs for these scenes. And I honestly thought Lady and Tramp had a lot of on-screen chemistry, considering they're real-life dogs,
It was hot.
especially during... Yeah,
It was- the romance was
the
blooming.
spaghetti scene, I mean, I think that was really, really well done, and just over the course of the film, even the other dogs like Trusty and was it Jock or whatever, the bull. I just thought those interactions between the dogs were really well captured.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it translated surprisingly well to this live action style because I was disturbed. Like I actually wrote on my notes, I was like, I love this movie until Lady started talking 5 minutes in.
it was
No,
really weird.
It's funny you say that because like I actually was thinking the same thing. I was like, wow, I'm really loving. I'm actually surprisingly like. I mean, I don't want to say surprising because it's only 5 minutes in the movie, but I loved the way they. And this to me was perfect filmmaking. The way that they bring in like they almost make it look like the original animated film. It's all like a storyboard. It's all written out, and then it blends into the real small little village that they live in the South, and they sort of just come in on it, and it's just such a nice, beautiful. The choirs in the background. They use the original score in parts of it, where they bring it in, and it was so perfect. And the fact that they ended the movie the same way, to me, I was like, they have to do. I was thinking one of the movie was saying is they have to end it the same way. If they don't do that, it'll be a complete failure, and I won't be happy. But they did, and
Yeah.
I was very glad about that because I was like, you have to do that. I mean, I wasn't over the moon about this film, but I was like, they need to do that. If they do that, they'll have one more points in my in my estimation, and they did. So, yeah, I loved how they did that hand drawn into the live action thing. But yeah, I don't know. There were parts of it where I could tell they were using real dogs, and then there were parts where I wasn't sure, and then there were parts where I was like, oh, they are not using real dogs there. Like the effects were not on par with any of the other films they've done, and I think, and kudos to the effects team, they did their best. And but it's very clear that this didn't have the budget of something like The Lion King.
Oh yeah.
And there were, when the dogs were talking, it was very, very distracting, and you do sort of start to get used to it after a while.
Yeah.
But then there's like the last scene where they're kind of the final chase scene where they're having them moving like really fast and talking while doing it, and it's just like, my brain is like, it doesn't mesh well. It's very uncanny feeling. So I mean, we're spoiled with effects these days, so I can kind of give it a pass because this wasn't a theatrical release. I know I probably shouldn't be giving it a pass, and I mean, I'm being critical of it, so I don't know how much of a pass I'm really giving it. But they were serviceable, and I do agree with you that I like the fact that they did use real dogs in moments. It wasn't all CG, like the Doolittle things were. They actually used real animals for parts of it, and I like that. I like it when they can do that in films like this. So, because that shows some skill and because you gotta maneuver dogs, and that's not always the easiest thing to do. So
Yeah.
but
All right, so I mean, is that not the most wholesome couple you've ever seen though? Like they were just like the nicest couple. They did nothing wrong the whole movie. They were like,
are you talking about Jim Deere and Darling Deer?
Jim Deere and Darling. Yes.
That's true.
The Deers, yeah.
Like I don't know, something about this movie was just fun. It was, you don't take it too seriously and you enjoy it a lot more, Like I went into this movie expecting to hate it. Like I was really banking on that, and I did not hate it at the end. I was like, oh, I like this.
It was fine. I will say, Yvette Nicole Brown. I mean, just bless her heart. I love her in like everything she's been in,
especially Drake and Josh.
Oh well, Drake and Josh, she's just a national treasure in that one. But
yeah,
but I mean, I've loved her in everything she's been in. I've seen her in Community. She's great in that.
She's great. She really just tried to slap a muzzle on this dog for wrecking the house.
Such a horrible person.
Yeah,
but I love every second she's on screen because she just, I don't know, she just sells everything so genuinely. She's just such a delight to watch. I love her.
How about that rat though? That was one vicious rat.
Okay, yeah, that rat. I hate those. The effects on that rat were terrible. Yeah, we'll say that. Those were just the worst.
But they were really going for it. They were really fighting. Like that rat wanted to kill him, and apparently was going in to like murder their child. So they had to go and save it.
It was had a vendetta.
Yeah, that was strange for sure.
I was like, how are they gonna somehow, like, they can't talk, how are they gonna explain themselves out of this? So like, and somehow like come to the conclusion that he was trying to save their child from a rat, but somehow they come to it like, oh, look at that ginormous rat is dead on the floor, and then they go chase down the dog catcher. his wagon completely falls apart. It was the most extra thing ever. And then like they find the wounded dog, they'll find the wounded tramp there, and they were like, oh look, it's hurt because it was protecting our child from the rat. I'm like, what about the crash that just happened? You don't think that had anything to do with it? They were like, wow.
So I that was the one. Well, there were a few things, but I hated the fact that the dog catcher was just like so, like he didn't even go after they just had a horrific crash in the middle of the street. The horses just like ran off with the
Uh-huh.
I don't remember carriage terminology, but they went off with the whole front end of the carriage. They ran off. The thing flipped over. The guy was thrown out of the seat, the driver's seat, and Tramp was also thrown out of it. He limps over basically, and is like, I gotta catch this dog.
Mhm.
It's like,
That's all he
what about
cares
the
about.
horses that ran off the street? How are you gonna get him back anywhere?
Oh, I
No
love
one
that.
came out. They were in like an unpopulated area. It seemed like they were still in like either the town center or like a small part of the neighborhood, and it was like no one came out and was like, "Hey, what's going on out here? Why is there?" There was just parts of it
No,
that
I
just
love
felt like, no,
I love that.
no,
Dude.
it was stupid.
He was commit.
I
He
did
said it
not like
himself. It was
that.
commitment. He was so committed to his
But
profession.
why?
Yeah.
Because he's a wacky character.
Just cruel for no
Hey.
reason, and it's like that works okay in a 75-minute children's film. I actually don't even remember really like. It's been a while since I've seen the original Lady and the Tramp. I don't remember the dog catcher character being like as prominent. Really?
God, right here.
See, like you even have the Blu-ray. I don't even have that.
I haven't even
So-
watched it. That's the sad thing here.
Oh.
Um,
It's good. I like it. See,
yeah.
and that's the thing. That's kind of the problem that I have with this movie, and it might be even the problem with Disney Plus because, okay, he probably has it too. But
Yeah.
the problem I have with it is just the fact that
What's going on? You have the Nintendo DS game?
You can keep talking, man.
no, I waited till you come back because I
just
wanted to see.
Look, Lady in the
Was this
Tramp.
the second one?
Lady in the Tramp 2. Scamp's
Why do
Adventure.
you have that?
Games
Wait, is that the
No.
Blu-ray of Scamp's Adventure?
Yeah, it is.
Ew.
There were only 7 made.
Yeah, probably. No, well, that was kind of weird thing where they didn't have the little puppies at the end. I was like, oh, we didn't get to see the little puppies. I mean, we get to see
Yeah.
the little puppies that we saw randomly on the street who were like, whoa, we're
That was
little
such a-
terrible looking puppies.
Oh,
We're like the worst looking puppy things ever.
And then you
It's
saw
like-
them in the pound as well. They were just everywhere.
They were just everywhere, yeah.
he's like, there's no way your
Um,
voice is that cute. What's your real voice?
um,
There were some.
Well, also
there were
my-
some fun moments in here.
there were my theory of why they changed Wee Jacques was made into Jacqueline,
Yeah.
like a female. And my guess
Mhm.
is like maybe they probably just couldn't find a Scottish actor for like the right. They were like, nah, none of these actors are cutting it. Let's just cast a woman. So they changed.
Ewan
Wee
McGregor
Jacques
doesn't
to-
have a whole lot going on right now.
Yeah,
so.
I guess. Yeah. No, I mean that was funny. I
Well,
did love Sam Elliott though.
Yes.
Sam, I mean, it was like what a relaxing voice. You just like go to sleep listening to that.
Mhm.
It's just like an old sleepy uncle telling you like,
Yeah.
back when I was just a young man, I used to rustle up some grub down on the fire.
Yeah.
It was just like,
But there were a lot of fun moments. I like the I really liked how the woman thought that the dude sitting next to her was just like sniffing her neck because the dog
that
came
was-
up. I was like, what did she think just happened? He came up and sniffed her.
yeah. How
her
did
neck.
he?
And
How did
like
she
real
think-
quick.
How did she think he did that when she's like, does she have no peripheral vision? The fact that he was just sitting there reading the whole time.
Yeah.
And he like lost his sandwich. It was great. The cats. I like the cat song though, even though it was.
It was different, but
It was different.
yeah.
I still liked it.
I looked up. Apparently, they hired a couple guys that I think they're like I don't remember what the group is called, but they're brothers. And I think they're essentially kind of like a southern rock or southern some sort of thing or something or the other. And yeah, for what it's worth, I thought they had to change the song. I mean, it's a product of its time, and it's not culturally sensitive, shall we say?
No.
The original song. I like it, but I guess that just means I'm a horrible person. But there was no way that
yeah.
they could have that in a film these days. So, yeah. So them changing it, I really liked it. I thought they did a really good job with it.
I thought the music in general was really nice, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, that's the thing is that this was billed as more as a musical, and I think it worked. I'm critical of this film, but the music was all like really, it was period. That was right to the period.
Yeah.
It 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 all sounded good. There wasn't anything that sounded bad. Um, and yeah, Bella Notte is just a great song in general.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
yeah. So it
When even
was
outside of the songs, when people were singing, just the old timey
yeah.
jazzy vibes that they had
Yeah.
going on were just really complemented that early 1900s time period.
The riverboat scene was like one of my favorites. I think that was kind of, if memory serves, that's sort of an addition. They didn't really go on a riverboat from what I remember
Yeah.
in the day. It was like a really cute scene. There was like they clearly had, that was when they were kind of flirting and getting to know each other a little bit.
It
And
was
Hmm.
hot. It
I
was
I
heating
like
up. It was great. Dr.
but it
Ken
was
was
cute,
there.
and it was yeah, Ken. What was that all about? That was the most random thing ever. I was like, he's just in this movie for like 10
And he was
seconds.
so
Yeah.
he's like
The
so
38
fed up
years
with
I've been delivering
childbirth.
babies. Yeah. Yours is the most beautiful.
Really?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
All right. So
Great.
anything else to add before we get into
Um,
scores?
I think one quick thing for me, I'll make this brief, is just I was a little biased going into this. I didn't expect this, but even recently adopting Scooby last summer, my dog,
Hmm.
I just seeing him as this like really battered, dirty, really thin and malnourished dog in a cage, and then like seeing Tramp kind of just like lose faith in humans because he once had a family that abandoned him. I kind of saw a lot of that in Scooby. So at the end of this movie, I actually teared up a little bit because like when the crazy, not dog trainer, help me out here,
Dog
Dog
catcher.
catcher.
the dog catcher, he was just trying to take him away, and um, uh, the lady was just like, no, like he's our dog now, and just like taking him home and him getting a collar, and just I don't know. Scooby was sitting next to me. I teared up a little bit, just hugging him close, just seeing this family that abandoned him previously and him getting a new home was just really special for me personally. So I really like that. But
That
Yeah.
wasn't in the original film, actually.
Oh.
was it not?
Yeah.
Was he not
No.
adopted?
No, he didn't. No, he was adopted, but the
backstory?
backstory of him being
Oh, the
abandoned.
backstory.
Oh, I
Okay.
like
was
that. I
not
like
the
the
original film.
backstory a lot, actually.
I,
Me
I
too.
I'm a stickler
Hater.
for tradition, so I didn't like it because of that, but I liked the fact that it gave more of an emotional depth to his character, which is weird
Yeah.
to say to me, but like it makes sense and it works. It's a little manipulative, but I accepted it,
Okay.
and it's fine.
So,
It's fine.
I mean, this probably would have had the same effect if I just watched like the animated one now, but just seeing it now in its entirety, like the story, I just have a greater appreciation for the story overall. Like I never really considered Lady and the Tramp up there with some of the Disney greats, but I just think it's a nice story. Basically like two classes coming together. This romance story, so it's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
It's one that's always been pretty special to me, just because it's one of the ones that we had, growing up. It's not one that gets talked about very much, which does make it a very bizarre choice for this sort of thing. So I think going into it, I think just it's hard to sort of let go of that idea, especially when the movie ends and immediately Disney Plus is like, you should watch Lady and the Tramp, and I was like, yeah. That's what I'm gonna do from here on out for the rest of time. I was like, I don't have any reason to really watch this anymore. Um, some of the new additions, I guess, are fine. We talked about like the riverboat scene, his backstory. But I mean, it's just it still to me is just like this didn't change the idea in my mind that Disney remakes are pointless, and Mulan has a chance to prove me wrong, because I think all the trailers leading up to that all look amazing, and I'm actually kind of hopeful for that film. But still, in the back of my mind is like, is there really a point to this? And Lady and the Tramp basically is telling me not really. It's not an offensive film. It's not a terrible film. I wasn't bored. I was entertained. I didn't love it, but I can't hate it. Really, there's nothing that's that offensive as a fan of the original. Like, I mean, it's a harmless film. It really is. And if you're gonna remake films, I guess just making a beat by beat remake of Lady and the Tramp, I guess you might as well.
Hmm.
Even though you still have your animated classic still readily available, it's just
No, they're gonna take
I
it
don't
off of
know.
Disney Plus probably in a couple weeks. Just act like it
That
never
that would
existed.
be so bizarre. It's gotten reviewed fine. It has like a
Mhm.
65% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's inoffensive. It it is fine. I don't have an over huge problem with it. I just think it's pointless. Go
All right, so what score would you give it out of 10?
Go ahead,
ahead.
Alec.
Me
Yeah,
first.
you
Okay.
start. It's gonna
Sure.
be the negative first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean probably 6.5.
Mm,
It's not a terrible film. I enjoyed myself.
great
I just
film.
it's not it doesn't reach any of those like it didn't wow me in any way. The effects weren't amazing. It didn't do anything like new with the story. I mean, I don't really expect you to do anything new with the story. It's Lady and the Tramp. Um, Seeing some of the stuff in live action was okay. They got the period right. The script wasn't really that good though. And they got all the visual stuff except for specific effects. They got all that down, like the look of the film. Um, but yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. So
Okay, Rusty.
I think this is an incredibly charming film. I had a lot of fun with it. I think, especially just because of being a recent dog owner, I got more enjoyment out of it than I maybe would have if I didn't have a dog that was abandoned. I think I'm going to give this a solid 8.0. I had a lot of fun with this
Oh
movie, and I
yeah.
think in the years to come, I'm going to continue to revisit it. It's just a really fun movie to kind of just kick back, and I don't want to say like mindlessly watch, but just it's just kind of fun and entertaining movie. So I enjoyed it.
it's definitely a pet person film for sure.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
mean, I my experiences with dogs when I was growing up were traumatic because the dog that I had chewed up my like when I was a baby the stuffed bear that I had. He tore that
Uh,
up, so I hated dogs for a long time.
Damn.
I mean, I honestly I hated that dog. I didn't really hate dogs in general. Um, Traumatic is also
You
pretty
seeked
strong.
revenge on that dog the rest of your life.
I
yeah.
mean, he probably died somewhere. I don't know. I mean, he's
Mm,
dead now. He was
nice.
he was rotten to the core. But
Oh.
no,
F
but
that
this is
dog.
a no, but this is a yeah. Dog films, and
I
I'm
think they
not like a
catered
huge
to a specific audience with this one. You know.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not overly huge on the whole like dog film kind of thing either. Like
It's fair.
really, but I mean this you can't get too much better than this, I don't think. And I gave it a 6.5, so it shows about my whole taste of those kind of films. But like I liked it. You know, it's fine.
All right,
Zach, what
Zach.
would you
How about yourself?
All right, so it's close. It was close between two scores, but I think I can agree with an 8. I I just think it's great, and I mean, I gave Lion King a 6.5. This is at least, I mean, it's at least a point higher than that. I mean, it's like it handled it well, whereas like Lion King, I felt like detracted from certain elements. Obviously, like I don't have, like I said, I didn't have the attachment to the original really, but
Hmm.
just enjoying it as a standalone movie, I just it was great. It was great. The dog catcher was great. It was so awesome.
I don't think he's great. I don't
Dr.
like him
Ken was
very much.
great,
Oh,
iconic.
Dr.
phenomenal.
Ken's 10 whole
What a
seconds, man.
performance.
He makes an impact.
What a performance
Best supporting
from
actor next year for sure.
Yeah.
Ken. The
He should have
rat,
been nominated this year.
the rat
The
is the
rat.
only thing keeping it from a perfect 10. All right,
Wow.
knocked it down 2
That
points.
docks 2 full points.
I agree.
All right, but I love the crash and the and the horses running off.
Good
So
stuff.
many good things here. All right, well that's it. We'll see
Alrighty.
you on the next one. So the next one, if it's not Mulan next, you know, maybe we'll do what, Aladdin is the next.
Yeah.
Sure.
I still haven't seen
have,
Aladdin, but you have.
have you seen that, Rusty? You
I
seen
have
Aladdin?
not. I've
Oh.
not.
Oh, you
okay.
haven't seen it. I have seen it. I did go. I saw it in theaters.
All right.
Yeah, I was shocked. I don't know why this shocked me. It shouldn't shock me because it's a Disney movie, so of course it's gonna be. That movie still made over like $1 billion, and it
Yeah.
didn't get reviewed very well either.
Yeah.
It's still-
I mean,
Billion?
It's made tons of money. Um,
All right.
and
Well,
Manama Sued still isn't being called for auditions for some reason, which is a shame. But anyway,
well, so yeah, look forward to that. If we're able to get to that before Mulan's release in March, then that will be what's next. All right.
Good
I'll
stuff.
give an update sometime on my Lion King score also.
Well,
I'd
yeah,
love to hear it.
Probably during that review. So
at ease.